And I haven't made a thumbnail for this. I haven't made a thumbnail for this one yet, but I will. And this is from Harmony IT Care. Harmony Healthcare IT, I should say. And this is a study. They surveyed 1,000 millennials, or 1,000 Gen Z, these are the people right now that are, going through college or coming up on that age, I believe. I think this is the high school, college age. And they say Gen Z state of mental health. And this is why this is important, because these are the women that most men of any age want to date, is the, 20 to 30 somethings, or I should say 20 to 30. So 42% have a diagnosed mental health condition. 1 in 4 were diagnosed with a mental health condition during the bug. 68% feel the bug has negatively affected their mental health. Just being, told to stay indoors, not socialize very much, wear the face covering and everything else, threw them for a loop. How are they going to fare in the real world? Because I'll tell you right now, Facebook is laying off Meta. I still call it Facebook, but Meta is laying off 11,000 employees. These are likely kids that came straight out of college, went to go work for, Facebook or one of these other millennial corporations. They've had an easy life. They made $100,000 a year. Many of them, I'm sure, at least, 60, 80 grand a year, working a comfy desk job. And they're about to find out what happens when venture capitalism goes away and companies need to start making money. But these are also the same women that make fun of you for working a blue-collar job and not making a ton of cash. They're probably going to be ringing your doorbell, hoping you ask them out for a date when the bills get tough, let me tell you. They say 57%, almost, that's over half, it's not quite 2/3, 57% are currently taking medication for their mental health condition. What does that tell you about our next generation coming up? Not only, number one, that they have a hell of a lot of problems, that social media and the hookup culture and racking up these body counts and saying, I want to be just like men, or the men being told you're worthless, by society and teachers and college and everything else. You're worthless and all you're bad and nothing you do is positive for society. It's almost driven, 60%, what's that, 3 out of 5? It's almost driven 3 out of 5 to medicating themselves and having mental health issues. They say 33% say that they're good, 36% say neutral, and 31% say bad. So again, that's like 67 that are kind of like meh, or I'm bad. 60% of our younger generation. They say on average, Gen Z reported 10 tough mental health days in August of this year. That's like 2-3 months ago. The bug was over. Everything was open back up. Life was returning to normal. And they're saying that basically 33% of my days in August were bad. And you're going to tell me that somehow this is empowering and good and young people are happy? Get out of here with that. They say almost 1 in 4 reported having more bad days than good days of August of this year. Again, just 3 months ago. And you're going to tell me somehow this is a win and that they're doing it right? If you ask me, it sounds like, chasing the bad boys, which has always happened, but without consequences, and gaining weight and having this body positivity and not being able to be shamed, and you can no longer say bad things on the internet, and people like me are bad for pointing out all the hypocrisy in the world. You're going to tell me you're better off? Because I'll tell you something, champ. I've been around on God's green earth for 50 years, and I maybe in a bad month, I might, like the month after my father passed away, I might say that I had 5 or 6 bad days where I was down a little bit over his passing. But the month after that, bounced right back to normal. Maybe 1 bad day, maybe. And why is that? It's because this younger generation is not prepared for the hard times. They're not prepared for dealing with their own issues. They have mommy syndrome where they have to always find somebody in authority to help them and to guide them and to tell them what to do. And yeah, that's great for the state because they'll have a bunch of worker bees. But those worker bees are not going to be very happy. Here's the top conditions that everybody has, 90% have anxiety. 90% of them that they talk to have anxiety. Now, remember, they can have multiples of these, so this is obviously going to be more than 100%. 78% are depressed. 78%. 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10. You're going to tell me that they're doing something right? I'm sorry, I disagree. ADHD, 27. PTSD, which is not, they do not, trust me. They think they do, they don't. 20%. OCD, 17. Eating issues, 14. Insomnia, 12. I don't know if I don't know if I call that a mental health condition, insomnia. I mean, everybody gets that every once in a while. But listen to this one. Bipolar, like legit, just straight up bipolar, 8%. Borderline, 7%. And then, drinking too many wines and popping too many pills, 6%. Again, these aren't cumulative, but I think if you have BPD and BD, bipolar and borderline, that's not classified as the same people. That's 15% of the population. 1 in 5 go to therapy, which I think is good, but can you believe 20% of young people need therapists? I mean, again, I get the wine mom, but young people? 39% go once a week, 23% go monthly. Nearly a third would rate their overall mental health as bad. More than 2 in 5 have a condition, like a diagnosed. It says here specifically diagnosed. They're just kind of rehashing the numbers I just talked about. 1 in 5 doing therapy. And they say, but here's the thing, right? They always told young men, oh, you need to be in touch with your emotions. Oh, you need to talk to people about it. 87% say they're comfortable talking about their issues with others. Are those others medical people, or is that you virtue signaling online? See, that's the difference. 63% say talking about feel comfortable talking about their own. Okay, so 87% are comfortable with the subject. 63% are fine talking about their own health with others. And again, if you didn't watch my other video, that's where I mentioned this. Doesn't sound like she's a very happy girl. This girl where she got nutted in by this dude, and then he starts playing on a Gundam kit. But what's she doing? She's talking about her problems with the world. That's not going to help you any. That's just virtue signaling. And here's the thing. All the love and adoration and attention from people that don't give a shit about you and that you don't even know who they are other than an avatar, it means nothing. It's literally nothing. You're chasing. I did a video a while about it, screaming into the abyss. These people are sharing their lives and caring and screaming. Half of them are bots. The other half of people will say, oh, stunning and brave, we care about you. But in the meantime, they don't care about you. And so what you have is a bunch of people that are throwing their lives away for a bunch of nothing. Let's see what else. 62% have taken a mental health day off from school or work. They take 3 days off just for their own mental well-being. I mean, again, I don't try to make this all about me, but I know a lot of you guys, including myself, have gone to work and you skip vacation because you're like, well, I'm fine. I don't have a lot I want to do, and I'll take the extra money. That was a big thing. I used to try to get paid out for my vacation. Many of the jobs I took, you could have your vacation accrue, and then when it hit a certain point, like you either had to take vacation or they would write you a check for your vacation. I took the check every time because I was fine. But you're going to tell me that like I'm sure some of this percentage of people that worked at Twitter this Facebook, of the 11,000 that are getting laid off, I'm sure many of them had to take a mental health day or two. For why? For sitting at a corporation where you can go get smoothies and play pool. These kids are just not adjusted for the real world. That's why if we get into combat or have a problem with some other country, we're going to be hurting. These are not the generation of old. They say 15% have talked to their boss about their mental health. They say 91% of bosses were supportive, 9% unsupported. 17% feel millennials are best at talking about mental health. 79% of Gen Z feel their generation is talking about it. 82% feel baby boomers are worst about talking about it. And 83% feel Gen Z, 83 of Gen Z feel their generation deals more with mental health issues than other generations. I agree with that last one. Of course you deal more with it because you've got more of it. My dad never took a day off of work unless he was sick. I could probably count on my hand the number of days my father left work all through my childhood because he was sick. And usually he'd go to work and just come home early because it's called toughing it out. And you can say, well, you shouldn't tough out or, tough through mental health issues. And I agree with that. But you got to ask yourself, if Gen Z is getting all this right and the younger generation is so brilliant, why are they the ones with all the mental issues? I don't have any. I mean, most of the people that I know around my age or older don't have any. Why is this younger generation really struggling? It's because they were never prepared for the real world. They went through life and everything else with snowplow parents and helicopter parents, and as a wonderful little snowflake that can do no wrong. And now when they run smack dab into the real world's hard. And they're not ready for it. And they're not prepared for it. And maybe it's the fault of Gen Xers. Maybe it's the fault of millennials. Maybe it's the fault of the boomers that did this to them. We say we want the next generation to have it easier, and so I will coddle them and protect them from all the issues in the world, and they'll have an easy life. And then they lost. Instead of having your feet put to the fire and getting some calluses and toughening up a little bit, which apparently is the right way to go, by protecting them and saying, oh, you're safe and you're special, everybody loves you, we just set them up for failure. Maybe it's everybody's fault but Gen Z. That could be as well. They continue going on with kind of the same stuff there of statistics, but they say here, mental health in a virtual world, Gen Z spends an average of 4 hours a day on social media. 4 hours. That's half of a day's work. You could have a part-time job. You could be going to the gym. You could be hanging out with friends. You could be doing something in the real world, but they spend 4 hours a day. Now, I spend a lot of time on social media, mostly looking for stories and things to share with you guys, and I can tell you, it'll take its toll on you. As a matter of fact, you're noticing I haven't put very many videos out over the last week. You know why? Because it adds up. And I just say, I'm not opening Twitter, I'm not opening the news today. But I know what it feels like. I'm pretty experienced at this after the last 3 years. I know when I'm not feeling, social media or jumping on the web to avoid it. Go for a long walk with a dog, hit some extra time at the gym. Go touch some grass, as they say. But young people, they don't have these social groups. They say on average, Gen Z started using social media around 12 years old. 18% started using social media at 10 years old. And a lot of the social media is designed for the 16 and 18 up gang. But you've got mothers and maybe some fathers, but I have to assume a lot of single mothers just wanting their kid to be quiet and shut up and leave them alone while they enjoy a glass of wine. And they hand these kids these iPads and these phones and get them started. My nephews are a perfect example of this. My sister got both those boys phones, and I mean like iPhones, because there was a divorce and it became a competition between her and dad on who bought them the most. So the kids got PlayStations and Xboxes and phones and iPads. And if one of them and this happened and it infuriated me, but if one of them got angry and threw their phone against a wall or on the floor in a temper tantrum, she would go out in the same week and buy them a brand new $100 screen replacement at a repair shop, because otherwise he'd just whine. Both those guys got entitled, and now they're, I think, 24 and 22. And where are they? Both of them are in jail. both of them. And we're not talking like slap on the wrist. They're going to be in there for years. Why? Because they got into illicit substances and they fought back against the law, and because they never got taught that your actions have consequences. And even if these young people that they're talking about here are not getting in trouble with the law, they're entitled, they're spoiled, they're bratty, and businesses are not going to put up with that. And here's the great thing. Even if a corporation will put up with that, their business is going to suffer. You cannot keep up with all the craziness that these young people are going through. They say top social media sites, YouTube. I don't count YouTube as social media, me personally. I don't. Because it's all I watch. I look at it as kind of my TV. That's why I got YouTube Premium. No ads. The people that I like watching get a couple of pennies per view of mine. I think that's a great deal, and it costs me $10 a month. I look at it as my TV is YouTube. Instagram, again, not bad for surfing for photos. Snapchat, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Discord, Pinterest, dating apps, Be Real. I don't even know what Be Real is. And Discord, I don't know. I'm not into Discord because it's 30% owned by Tencent, a Chinese company. But there's Gilded. And you know what? If I open my Gilded right now, you know what they've been talking about today? News, current events, politics, gaming. And so, yeah, maybe that does count for social media a little bit. I don't think YouTube does, though, really, in my opinion. They say 1 in 3 have posted it. Well, and here's the, I hope YouTube doesn't count. Otherwise, like I'm on YouTube 6-8 hours a day while I'm working here, and I have a little video of something playing. So I'm worse than everybody else if YouTube counts. But statistically, I guess they're counting it. 1 in 3 have posted about their mental health on social media. Why? Virtue signaling. Is social media going to help them? No. It's virtue signaling to strangers that don't care about you. 57% have taken a break from social media for their mental health. Great. It should be 100%. On average, Gen Z takes off about 10 weeks off social media. That's great. I think they should do a lot more of that, and it would help. 36% have deleted their social media for their mental health. That's great. How many of them reinstalled it later on? 12% deleted it in 2020, 14% 2021, 9% in 2022. I think that's great, but it should be more if you're having, struggles, because it's not enough. I think that the rest of that's just reiterating what I just said. 85% of Gen Z do not like their generation, do not feel like their generation has been set up for success. They feel that people have let them down, that the system has let them down. But you know something? When I was growing up, I never felt like the system was set up for me at all. Maybe many of you feel the same way. I wasn't ready for college when I got out of high school. I joined the military. That was okay. It wasn't great. I got out and hell, I remember getting out of the military and my first job was washing dishes for $5.25 because I had a car payment to make. But I didn't feel like I was set up for a future, because that's not a thing. Nothing in life is guaranteed for you. But these young people weren't told that. I was told that. One thing my father and mother told me is, hey, you want to get ahead, you're going to have to work your butt off. They said to go to college. I ended up only taking a few semesters, enough to get a 2-year degree that I never actually went back and got. But the point is, I've always known the world is against me, and it was going to be a fight the whole way. But what happens when they think that the world is promised to them and then it doesn't deliver? They're going to have problems. They say 75% feel they have a disadvantage compared to other generations. You do, because you haven't been taught how to have a work ethic and putting your nose to the grindstone, and that it takes determination and hard work and creativity to get somewhere, that nothing's promised you. They say 50% do not feel ready to join the workforce. Again, they were never told how to handle being an adult. And that's why so many of them, I just saw a statistic here in the United States, 28 points young people aged 18 to, I think it was 25, 28% of them, or plus 28, voted for Democrats versus Republican. And why is that? Because Democrats right now, historically, they weren't like that. But Democrats right now are all about big government, telling you what to do, giving you free money, taking care of you. And what happens when that gets to plus 50 or 40 or 30% or whatever? That they vote themselves into socialism. And they feel like, oh, I'll be taken care of. No, you don't get taken care of. You take care of the state. They don't tell you that, though. They don't want you to know that. So I feel that it's almost like the government and the school systems and everything is purposefully not preparing them for the future. They say 66% do not feel financially stable. That may continue on for you for a long time. I didn't feel financially stable till my mid-30s, I think. And 85% are worried about the future. That wasn't a thing for me. I wasn't worried about the future. They worry about personal finances and the economy. Well, you just kind of, again, I'm not saying vote one way or another, but you kind of voted for the same. The last 2 years, the economy's gone into the crapper, and you voted a lot of the same people in. So not a lot's going to change there. But this blows me away. Number 3, personal health and mental illness. Number 3. Number 4, the environment. Number 5, politics. Number 6, the workforce. Number 7, harmful acts. And number 8, the bug. Do you know what's funny? If you asked me when I was a 20-something what I would have worried about, money, which is my personal finances. The economy, not so much, so long as it didn't affect my personal finances. Do you know what number 2 would have been? Dating and girls. And then there wouldn't have been a 3 through 8. I would have been like, I don't know, I'll figure it out as I go. I cared about having money in my pocket and dating girls. And now you notice romance, love, family, none of that stuff's on this. It's all politics, and because the environment is politics, and politics are politics, and the workforce, unionizing, that's politics. This harmful stuff, this is coming around a lot more because of, wait for it, politics. And the bug, which kind of got political. They feel like, 90% feel like they weren't set up for success. I feel bad. I'm not making fun of the young generation coming up, but look, we say it all the time. Good times create weak men. Weak men create bad times. You've got a lot of young men out there that are weak. They fall in with the feminist propaganda, that be in touch with your emotions and don't be strong and don't be a leader, that women, are just as capable and stronger than men, and they're the smarter, and men hold them back. And what you're doing, softening the backbone up of the society. Men are the backbone of society. Men built society. Whether you like it or not, they did. Men are the ones doing the hard physical labor. Men are the ones doing the necessary work. Karen in HR is not necessary. Bob and Jim, the guys that are running electric lines or putting up a new transformer for electricity or fixing the heat and the air conditioning or paving the road or picking up the sanitation or making sure you have fresh water or that your sanitation's taken care of when it's like septic and things like, boy, you'll miss those guys. Try using a toilet for 3 days without flushing it and then let it sit there a week. Tell me which you'd rather have at that point. Karen in HR that's going to have you sign on something and watch a training video, or a guy that'll come in and get rid of your plumbing so your damn house doesn't smell. We're telling society the wrong people are important. We're telling men that they're not important. We're telling men to be weak, soft, effeminate. How's that working out for you, Gen Z? And again, I'm not putting all this blame on Gen Z. I'm putting it on all the people that didn't tell Gen Z what the real world is like. And so now we're going to have some hard times for a while. And you're going to have to struggle through. We're all going to have those hard times. Even if you're a strong man, you're going to have some hard times. But the whole entire thing is going to have to break down, and come to a crash before it gets being rebuilt. It'll hobble along for a little while, but when it comes down, it's only going to get better after it gets worse. I've been saying that now for, I think, 2 or 3 years. People are okay with the status quo, and they're not going to learn until it gets really bad. Hopefully, things don't get so bad that we screw ourselves and get into some socialist, communist nightmare, because that you don't come out of that one. Those hard times, they hang around sometimes for a century. Look at Cuba. Look at the USSR. Look at Venezuela. Look at a lot of these countries. And there's no good times for a long time if you get that bad. Guys, again, join me over on betterbachelor.locals.com. We got movie night coming up. We're going to enjoy some drinks. We're going to be celebrating the winning of the contest over at Jeremy's Razors. I forgot to mention that in the beginning of the video, but if you hung around this long, good on you. Join me over there. We're having a hell of a lot of fun. Super tips and all that stuff over there are put towards the Bachelor retreat. So far, I've got some really big tippers. I'm actually going to name things after them. We're going to have the Cobalt, the Cobalt Bar, and the Shippo Galley, and I think Nomad and Grumpy Wolf are going to have, I don't know, hiking trails named after them. Like, you guys are doing a great job in helping me fund this retreat, so I appreciate it. All right, guys, we will see you over there, and we'll see you in the next one.